Hi, how y'all doing? My name's Tyler. I'm the Vice President of Winthrop College Republicans.
And I'm Leslie. I'm the Secretary of Affairs. And today we have Mr. Dwayne McClure. Mr. McClure was the campaign manager for Mark Palmer in Senate District 17, which he did an amazing job running a grassroots campaign that caught the attention of the governor, well, actually two governors now, McMaster's and a U.S. Congressman, Tim Scott. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, yeah, my name, as you've already said, is Dwayne McClure. Thank you for inviting me onto this show. Thank you for the nice hype up. But I'm local. I'm from Lake Wiley, South Carolina. Graduated Clover High. Went to the University of Tennessee.
Okay.
Go Vols. And really, all you really need to know about me is that I have had a passion for politics ever since I was a little boy. And I found out that it's something I wanted to do with my life, and God opened an opportunity for me, so I took it.
So what's the earliest campaign you worked for then to get your foot in the door?
The very first campaign that I ever worked on, excluding the numerous times that I ran for student government posts, was actually Tommy Pope when he first ran against Herb Kirsch in 2010.
Oh, wow.
And I was 17 at the time, and he gave me the responsibility of winning both Clover and Lake Wiley, which make up a little over half of that district, for him. Mm-hmm. It was rather daunting. I couldn't even vote for him in the primary. Yeah. I was too young. Hadn't graduated high school yet. But it was very, very challenging, but I loved it, and I found out that I had a knack. And it's great when you have a passion for something and you also find out that you have the ability to actually do it. Yeah. Nothing's worse than being passionate about something that you're bad at.
Yeah. And speaking of that passion, you transformed that passion with the politics, and now you're moving on to more of a consultant based firm now called Grace & McClure.
Right.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Grace & McClure firm actually started with me and one of my really good friends who is also very politically minded and had that same passion and tapped into his abilities as well. Right. And we found that we worked best in an advisor role to campaigns and in collecting grassroots lists and getting people motivated and winning campaigns. So we decided that we would like to go ahead and start out on our own. So we have, over the past year and a half, kind of gotten our website together. We've gotten a little bit of a base of clients. I actually just got back from Tennessee. I was talking to somebody up there who's interested in running for governor of Tennessee in 2018. Oh, wow. We're going to see what we can do for them, right. See if we can help them out and help them win. I love Tennessee.
Okay.
It's my second home. But really, it's not that hard, shall I say, if you have the desire to do it. You just have to be willing to stay up until 2 o'clock at night and wake up at 4.
So, well, speaking of some of your clients, who are some people that you've worked for over the years? Obviously,
Mark Palmer. Mark Palmer is technically the firm's first client outright. Okay. So he gets that honor. Yeah. And what an honor it absolutely was. He's a terrific man.
Yeah, great guy.
And I really hope that he considers running for office again in the future.
Me too.
Predating the Grace & McClure firm, I actually worked for Bob Corker, who I hear may become our next Secretary of State. And I'm okay with that, because then I can say I worked for the Secretary of State.
Exactly, get that connection.
And then a few local races in Tennessee, several local races here in South Carolina, including the race of Tommy Pope again and again. And I also worked on that Scott Talley race that I was telling you gentlemen about before the interview. So did Colton. Colton really, he handles more of our social media outreach and more of the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Okay. He's in D.C., isn't he?
He is. He's in D.C. He's working with the National Pro-Life Alliance, and he's protecting the unborn there. He's loving what he's doing. We've kind of loaned him out there for about a year and a half. And then in 2018, I believe he'll actually be returning to South Carolina to help us in our endeavors. So we look forward to that. He's also building up a great rapport with several national races.
Okay.
He actually has a few contacts now in Florida, Kentucky, Texas, Indiana, Colorado, and Arizona.
It's pretty wide.
That may end up yielding some benefit. So we've took this little he and I construct, and we're really thinking that it's going to explode.
Is Colton from Clover as well?
He is. We both went to the same high school.
So two small town.
We actually never really knew each other in high school. We had one class together. We weren't friends or anything. And then about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, he and I encountered each other again when I was working at the State House for Tommy Pope. And we hit it off, and it just kind of picked up from there. Now we're talking every single day. Actually, he's probably the one that just texted me about 5 minutes ago.
That is great. Speaking of campaigns, like you were talking about, what is the most memorable one you remember?
You know, honestly, I'd have to say it's also the most recent campaign, but because of what we were able to do with it, I think that it's going to have the lasting impression.
Right. Oh yes.
And it's the Palmer campaign, because when I first met Mark Palmer back in April of this year, he and I sat down. We actually went to the Firehouse Subs down the way on Dave Lyle, and he told me what he wanted to do. And like everyone else, I just kind of stopped and said, "What? You want to win a Democratic district where the last Republican had 35% of the vote?"
Right.
So I just kind of went out on faith, and he invited me to join the campaign, and then just to see where it began with just he and I, and of course his family and some of my family who were able to help, into an actual, as you said, competitive race.
Right.
Where it was the most competitive that district had ever been.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And if he would have won, like you said, hopefully he runs again. It'd been the first time in almost 100 years, or in 100 years, that a Republican has won that district. And even
it actually would have been the first time since Reconstruction.
Wow. See, but even that, at the end of the day, the exit polls or the exit numbers showed that it was 52 to 48. So y'all had an impact there, and you're going to leave a stamp. And so I honestly believe that the people of Chester, the people of District 17, want change.
Well, honestly, the demographics show that change will come. The demographics of that district show that in the next 4 years, that race is going to be even more competitive than it was this time around. And in 4 years after that, it's going to be a Republican district because of the influx of people from York County.
I think one of the most memorable things just thinking about the Mark Palmer campaign, just getting to know him, was that he was never someone that made you think that it was an uphill battle. Like, he was always so enthusiastic about it. I mean, he always had a smile on his face. He wanted to talk to people, and he was just really, really motivated.
Yeah, and that was great. Is that as not only his campaign manager, but as somebody who became his friend, I can say that was probably his best quality throughout the whole entire race, is the fact that he was durable and optimistic. Because the last thing that you want out of somebody who's running for office is for them to be timid, shy, and scared. And Mark was none of those things.
He was a country boy.
Mark was none of those things. We showed up at events where they probably hadn't even run into a Republican before. And he was not afraid to go out there and meet new people and shake hands. And I loved it. And like you said, he always kept a smile on his face.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Well, kind of shifting from the political side to some of the personal side, what is something about you that not many people know?
Something about me that not a lot of people know. Well, I actually used to do a good bit of writing. I actually wrote over 500 poems.
Oh, that's awesome.
No one has ever read them. No one probably ever will. There's not going to be an Emily Dickinson scenario here. but I keep them still and glance over them occasionally.
That's awesome.
Now I'm gonna be a teacher one day. Are you sure maybe in like 50 years my students are gonna be like, I read that last, Dwayne McClure poem. It was so. It's not gonna be.
If that happens, I don't know how it would have gotten out of my room, but hopefully I'll be around to see it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of him talking about him being an educator and he's going to be teaching one day, what would you say to the young people now who don't think they have the opportunity to get engaged or don't know how to get engaged? What do you say to them?
Well, this is actually a topic that I'm very passionate about, and it's really what this firm is all about, is that we specialize in getting youth involved, because those are the people who the decisions of today affect the most.
Exactly.
And my message to the youth would be, read. Leaders are readers.
Right.
Challenge everything. Don't just take somebody's word for it. Right. Because my opinion may not be the actual fact, and whatever I say doesn't go necessarily. If we want to have a future, we have to do it through dialogue.
Right.
And we can't just do that by shouting down opinions we don't like. And then finally, I would say that you have to get off the bench. You have to get off the bench, and you can't be apathetic about politics. Because whether you like it or not, politics are some of the most personal things that people will do.
Right.
Politics is literally the acted upon expression of how people wish to live their lives.
Right.
So I don't understand why somebody would take that power that they have and essentially say, don't care about that.
Yeah, it's basically just casting away their right of liberty to servitude, in a sense.
Well, now, last question. Since it's December now, we just had an episode of Elephant Saloon that was Christmas themed. What is a Christmas tradition one of your favorite Christmas traditions that you have?
Okay, so I'm actually going to share two. One is my favorite Christmas tradition, and then one's just kind of funny. So my favorite is every year on Christmas Eve, we get together as a family and we watch Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase and drink eggnog. And that movie's hysterical. Cousin Eddie is everything. That same night, this is the second tradition, that same night, my grandmother, who although I'm 24, still buys Christmas presents and still has a surprise Christmas present on the 24th. We open it, and every single year, all the males in our family have matching pajama sets. Every single year.
You have a good stock by now, right?
Oh, absolutely. I have so many pajama sets. It's not even funny.
Well, it's good that she wants you to stay warm.
Oh, yeah. I won't go cold.
It is.
Well, thank you for coming out for this interview.
Thank you so much.
Well, we hope you have a good Christmas, and we hope everything goes well for you in the future with your firm.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.